Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are student of PL MAR, Section 2B SIT 3C. The video start in. Our topics for today are all about environment, the physical and chemical, biotic factors, organism, ecological community, producers, and the two major classes of producers: the herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores, consumers, decomposers, ecological hierarchy, the scientific method, purpose/question, research, hypothesis, experiment, analysis, and conclusions.
Environment is the complex of physical, chemical, and biotic factors, such as climate, soil, and living things, that act upon an organism or an ecological community and ultimately determine its form and survival. Physical is the part of the human environment that includes purely physical factors, as soil, climate, water supply. Chemical can be defined as the study of the sources, reactions, transport, effects, and fates of chemical species in the air, soil, and water environments, and the effect of human activity and biological activity on these. Biotic factors are the living things in an ecosystem. Living things include plants, animals, bacteria, fungi, and more. The non-living parts of an ecosystem are called abiotic factors. In an ecosystem, some abiotic factors are sunlight, temperature, atmospheric gases, and water. Organism, an individual animal, plant, or single-celled life form, in other words, living thing. Ecological community. An ecological community is a naturally occurring group of native plants, animals, and other organisms that are interacting in a unique habitat. Its structure, composition, and distribution are determined by environmental factors such as soil type, position in the landscape, altitude, climate, and water availability. Ecology is the study of how organisms interact with one another and with the physical environment. It is the branch of biology that deals with the relations of organisms to one another and to the physical surroundings. Producers, also known as autotrophs, from the Greek words auto, for, self, and troph, for, food, are organisms that make their own food using inorganic materials and energy sources. Two major classes of producers. Photoautotrophs are by far the most common type of producer on Earth today. These producers harness energy from sunlight to power the life functions. Chemoautotrophs are fairly rare in most ecosystems. They obtain energy from chemicals such as hydrogen, iron, and sulfur, which are not common in most environments. Herbivores, an animal that only eats plants. Carnivores, an animal that only eats meat. Omnivores, an animal that eats both meat and plant. Consumers, also called heterotrophs, are organisms that eat other living organisms in order to obtain energy. The name comes from the Greek, hetero, for, other, and troph, for, food.
Decomposers, or detritivores, are organisms that use organic compounds from producers and consumers as their source of energy.
Ecological hierarchy. Ecological hierarchy theory describes the arrangement of biological organisms in relation to one another. Individual. An individual is any living thing or organism. Population. A group of individuals of a given species that live in a specific geographic area at a given time. Community. This includes all the populations in a specific area at a given time. Ecosystem. Include more than a community of living organisms interacting with the environment. Biome. A biome, in simple terms, is a set of ecosystems sharing similar characteristics with their abiotic factors adapted to their environments. Biosphere. A biosphere is the sum of all the ecosystems established on planet Earth. The scientific method. The scientific method is an organized way that helps scientists, or anyone, answer a question or begin to solve a problem. There are usually 6 parts to it. Purpose. Question. The scientific method starts when you ask a question about something that you observe: how, what, when, who, which, why, or where. Research. Rather than starting from scratch in putting together a plan for answering your question, you want to be a savvy scientist using library and internet research to help you find the best way to do things and ensure that you don't repeat mistakes from the past. Hypothesis. A hypothesis is an educated guess about how things work. It is an attempt to answer your question with an explanation that can be tested. A good hypothesis allows you to then make a prediction. If blank, I do this blank, then blank, this blank will happen. State both your hypothesis and the resulting prediction you will be testing. Predictions must be easy to measure. Experiment. Your experiment tests whether your prediction is accurate and thus your hypothesis is supported or not. It is important for your experiment to be a fair test. You conduct a fair test by making sure that you change only one factor at a time while keeping all other conditions the same. You should also repeat your experiments several times to make sure that the first results weren't just an accident. Analysis. Once your experiment is complete, you collect your measurements and analyze them to see if they support your hypothesis or not. Conclusion. Review the data and check to see if your hypothesis was correct. If the grass under the green light bulb grew faster, then you proved your hypothesis. If not, your hypothesis was wrong. It is not bad if your hypothesis was wrong, because you still discovered something.
Wala na. Finish na.